Hello and welcome to the very first episode of The Alpha Angle. I'm your host, Mubina Kapasi. Today I'm joined by a guest who embodies the wisdom of long-term investing. Navneet Munot, the MD and CEO of HDFC Asset Management Company. He has over 30 years of experience in the business, and he's somebody whose views guides not just portfolios, but investor sentiment in India. Hi Navneet, and thanks so much for joining us today. Before we dive in, I have to ask you a question on how do you do it all? You're the MD and CEO of one of the largest mutual fund houses, a dual title at that. You have obviously all the leadership responsibilities that come along with it, plus 100 people like me who are going to ask a couple of questions to you that you have to answer, and then you have your personal life as well. So let us into that secret sauce. How do you manage to do it all?
I don't know if there's a secret sauce, but I have this theory that the whole work-life balance is not the right way of putting it.
Yeah.
The better way to say is work-life integration. If work is pleasure, life is a joy. If work is duty, life is slavery. There's no difference between being a slave and doing a duty. I think if you are enjoying your work, and also we are in a incredibly good job where you get a responsibility to manage money for millions of people. So think about it, like we manage money for 1.4 crore investors at HDFC. I'm part of an industry which is managing trust of 5.5 crore people.
Wow.
We're part of a group which has relationship with 10 crore people.
Yeah.
So we are just too blessed to be stressed. There should not be any reason to feel the stress. And as long as you are enjoying the work, then there is no challenge. And of course, a lot of credit to the team. I don't know if they are feeling the stress because of you, but I don't.
No, but it flows from the top, right? If the boss is somebody who exudes this kind of peaceful environment at work, then that kind of does flow down to the bottom.
I don't know. People ask me, I said it flow upwards. Like, people ask me, where do you get this energy and enthusiasm? I said, yeah, looking at you.
So how do I apply? I'm curious because even I want this kind of peace. But I think let's begin first with the big picture.
Yeah.
India's macro story. It's something that's touted as being one of the best in the world. There are a couple of reasons for that, of course, because demographics is our number one benefit.
Absolutely.
Digital innovation, that's something that's come up so significantly in the last couple of years. For investors, what's that one standout moment, if I can just pin it down to one, that really makes you think that, yes, this is it. This is what makes India stand apart.
So you think about India today in the context of the world we are in. We've got political, social, macroeconomic, and financial stability. In one breath, I don't know, you can say that for how many countries in the world. So we are really blessed that this is the right time to be in India. And when you were asked to Warren Buffett several years back, what's the secret sauce of like you being so successful? He said that I came out of the right womb at the right time in the right place. I think most of us in India today can say the same. Yahi samay hai, sahi samay hai. That I think we are in a period where though the next several years will remain one of the fastest growing economies in the world. There would be tremendous wealth creation, and the opportunity for people like us in this profession is that we would get an opportunity to serve millions of people, that they can participate in that growth story.
Yeah. And they are, right? And
of course,
you have been, it's been what, 30 years that you've been in this industry. So you've actually seen the evolution of this industry from, the late 90s or the early 2000s to now. If you could summarize what that journey was like, I mean, take us back in time. What was it like then? What was the participation like now? Of course, today we all know the story, but what was it like
early 90s, think about it. I mean, today people do the online trading. I mean, somebody is a client of Angel. I mean, you can open your account in few seconds. You can start trading. You can start investing. You have so much of information in your hand, and imagine where large part of the country would come to know second or third day, because newspaper reaches you second or third day. You didn't have all of this YouTube and so many of the people guiding you. You didn't have 24/7 TV channels. You didn't have the internet. In those days, I think There was a lot of interest in the market, but I think markets have come a long, long way. I think we have to give credit to ourselves in terms of what the regulators have done in India. They have played a very big role in ensuring that our markets are transparent, markets are fair, markets are investor friendly. They worked tremendously on ensuring that we leverage the power of technology and make it absolutely world class at cutting edge. When I travel outside India and I tell them that in many ways, from a regulatory perspective, from technology perspective, from transparency perspective, we are ahead of several of the developed markets. So we have come a long way. And starting in early 90s, I remember the days of like that open outcry where you give a trade in the morning and then somebody like physically executing that in the stock exchange to where we have come. So we have really, really come a long way. The awareness about the industry, and SIP is a household name. Everybody is using the word SIP. SIP kiya kya. So what a big transformation.
So tell me some numbers. I mean, today we know it's running into lakhs and crores, your monthly, your SIP collection, sorry. What was it like a few years ago? Like, because that the growth has almost been linear.
Yeah, so in 90s as a fund manager, in 2000s, like you celebrate first 100 crore, you celebrate 1000 crore, you celebrate 10,000 crores. Today we are talking in terms of like lakhs of crores. Industry's growth in last 1 year is more than what the total AUM was 10 years back. And we have come a really long way. The number of transactions that get processed every day are more than what we used to process in like months. So we have come a long way. The number of investors have multiplied, and particularly on the SIP side, what it was even 7 or 8 years back and what it is today, that's such a big transformation, and we take a lot of pride, but we remain humble. We know that this is just the beginning. So I give you a number. So industry was, I think, 1 lakh crore or so in early 2000. From there, it's like 75 lakh crores. So we have really come a long way. As recent as early 2014, industry AUM was 10 lakh crores, and we have come to 75. Equity AUM was 2 lakh crores. And today at SDFC AMC, we are managing multiples of that.
that the numbers really do have the proof in the pudding. You mentioned that how there's so much information available today. It's not like what it was back in the 90s. That arbitrage, information arbitrage is almost gone. But then that also is a problem because then you have so much noise that you don't know what to filter out. So what's your advice? I mean, how should investors know what to listen to and what not to listen to?
That's a great question. So there are 3 things about the world we are in. Number 1, everything is unpredictable. At the beginning of the year, you really don't know what's likely to happen, which would have been like almost impossible to predict at the beginning of the year. Think about last 5 years. At the beginning of 2020, nobody would have thought that we will have a worst health crisis in a century, a worst economic crisis in a century. 21, the second wave was lethal. 22, Russia-Ukraine war. 23, I can go on. In last 5 years. At the beginning of the year, who would have thought about what's happening in US and the implications it's having on the rest of the world? So every year, I mean, you get something which is like highly unpredictable. So everything is unpredictable. Number 2, everything is faster. The cycles are getting shorter and shorter. And third is everything is questionable, which means that there is so much of noise. And everybody's got right from your WhatsApp to your Twitter, whatever, now it's X to like Telegram to so many things. There's like you are getting bombarded with information, so much of data. And I always say this, that data is not information. Information is not knowledge. Knowledge is not understanding. Understanding is not wisdom. You make money by applying wisdom. Wealth creation comes from wisdom, not from more data, not from more information, not from more knowledge. All of this helps, but not really in wealth creation. So, as you rightly said, there is a lot of information, and you think that information arbitrage has gone out. But the more noise has actually created another arbitrage. It's like 2 kinds of arbitrage. Number 1 is the time arbitrage. If you can look through the noise, if you can, if you know to differentiate between what is signal and what is noise, there's a lot of opportunity. And second is the research arbitrage. Getting more and more data versus doing a deeper research are 2 very different things. And that's where the advantage of professional fund managers like us with deep research resources, very robust portfolio management, a lot of risk management and governance that you put together, and you have a clarity of investment philosophy or thought process together. More noise is good for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And you gave me a perfect segue actually into my next question. As a professional fund manager, there's obviously a value that you bring in, your wealth of experience, etc. Now we have AI, and I'd be amiss in not asking you about that, right? I know it's like, okay, great, another question on how robots are taking over our jobs, but it's a crucial question because there are two ways to look at it. Either it'll completely replace you, or you know how to leverage
Yeah,
it
yeah.
and get the best out of it. How are you guys at HDFC Mutual Fund looking at AI in terms of the value it can add to all of you as fund managers?
So AI is transformational.
Yeah.
There's no sphere of human life, or there is no segment anywhere in the world which will remain insulated from the implications of AI. It's one of the most transformational force that humanity has seen. So humanity has dealt with agricultural revolution, which changed the way we grow our food and eat it. We saw the industrial revolution, which kind of amplified our ability to do things, where machines replaced human hands. Then we had the information revolution in last 6 or 7 decades, where your productivity went up substantially. You are networked. I mean, the world became a smaller place. This is intelligence revolution. This is basically what human brain is capable of doing, and human capacity in any sphere, in any field, I think up to 80 or 90% of that may get done by the machines. But the remaining 10 or 20, and that's where the investing edge, that if you leverage the power of AI with more computing power, with what it can do with the data, if you utilize that and apply the wisdom, going back to the word that it is not about data, information, knowledge, understand, it's about wisdom. You can apply that. Investing is a lot more about temperament. It's a lot more about applying that wisdom. And if you use the power of AI, I think it's only giving you, it's kind of empowering you a lot more than where you are today. So will this replace? I don't think so. But the fund managers who are not leveraging on the power of AI will surely be at a disadvantage to the others who are using it. It can personalize things a lot more for investors, understanding their needs, looking at their background, creating a right risk-adjusted portfolio for them, so on and so forth. So a lot more personalization at scale can be done by leveraging the power of AI, but AI is important. I always say this, that anything which is dull, dumb, and dangerous won't be done by human beings. Machines and, let's say, things like AI will replace that, yeah.
So data, information, knowledge, all of this you leave to AI.
Kind of like, yeah. But there's a lot of wisdom that you need to apply.
Yeah,
A lot
and
of
that is
common
where
sense.
the human element.
Exactly, yeah. That's where the human element comes in. Investing is not about like getting the algorithm right.
Yeah.
Investing is a lot more than that. And if every machine is thinking similarly, you may get actually more amplified moves. It's already happening in a way that if you look at the global markets today, there's a big role machines are playing even today. The amount of money which is there which is purely run on the algo, which is purely run by the hedge funds, etc., that volumes have gone up very substantially. In fact, that creates more opportunity for the people who are on the other side. Yeah.
You know, it reminds me that when Excel and spreadsheets were kind of brought in, all chartered accountants thought, okay, that's it, we are done for, it's over, everything is going to be taken over by spreadsheets. But I feel it really amplified the value of a CA, because all the drudgery and the preparing of balance sheets could be done with the help of softwares and Excel sheets, and they could just use and free up their brain bandwidth, if I could call it that, for more analytical things. So it's kind of...
Along with my CA exams, I did masters in accountants in business statistics. And can you believe that in that time, calculators were not allowed? So a standard deviation or any of those things, I had to calculate the full table at the back of the page. And we were used to that. Now imagine a calculator was like a big thing for students, or let's say anybody who's practicing C. And from there on to the Lotus Notes to the Excel, and then now the AI. So
AI must be a massive luxury then at this point for especially students who give CA back then. Speaking about that human element, there's something else that AI can't do. You mentioned temperament, and you mentioned that personal touch as well, which is also important for building trust, because at the end of the day, for all fund managers, it's this fiduciary responsibility. And especially for you, you have more than 1 crore, unit holders, like you mentioned. So how do you go about doing that? And what is the culture that you all have built of ethics to ensure that that bond and that trust is built between investors and your team?
So logo of HDFC AMC is Bharosa Apno Ka.
Yes.
It's about the trust. And over this last several decades, what the group has done is to earn that trust and the confidence of millions of people. And that's very important. And I'm happy that you asked that question, because we are not in the business of managing money. We are in the business of managing trust. So you should look at like trust under management, and millions of investors are parting with their hard-earned money, and with expectations that we would deliver what they expect out of us is a tremendous responsibility. Always say that this is the most noble profession in the world. This is the most noble profession in the world, dealing with somebody else's money and managing their expectations. I think that deep sense of trusteeship, that deep sense of responsibility, that deep sense of stewardship is very, very important. And this is where the group ethos, the group value system really comes into being, that over the last several decades, we always keep in mind that we are managing somebody else's money, and every day it's not only about the fund managers or the risk managers or the product managers, what they are doing, but each and everyone in the organization must keep them in mind and live that ethos and live that value system day in and day out, that everything that we are doing. I always say that in investing, they say that 4 most dangerous words are, this time is different. Be careful when people are saying. I always say that the 5 most dangerous words are, in our industry, everyone else is doing it. There are several times when people will say, no, har aadmi kar raha hai, sab log kar rahe hain, but hum nahi karenge, because we don't think this is the right thing to do. And having that value system is very, very critical. We will do what is right for the investor. We will do what is right for all the stakeholders. Yeah, that's very important. And that's about like culture. How do you build that? And it takes, I mean, somebody has rightly said that the trust compounds faster than wealth, but can get destroyed in minutes. So you have to always ensure that don't do anything which can impact that trust of millions of people.
You know, I think another very interesting contrast between what it was like earlier was that all of this, what we speak about trust and ethos and culture, etc., was largely led by the regulator. Most of the rules and all of that the regulator also had to come out with was to ensure that companies understand that they are taking care of other people's monies. And now companies, from the get-go, they've built that culture themselves. It's not like you had to have a regulator come and tell you that, okay, listen, be careful or something like that. So that's also, I feel like, turned things around and really built that trust inherently for investors as well, you know. Now, I cannot not have
If I can add, Mubina, so I always ask people the definition of integrity, and I always say it's not only about honesty, transparency, and all of that. Integrity is doing the right thing when nobody is watching. Integrity is doing the right thing when nobody is watching. You're not doing the right thing because a regulator has asked you to do, or you think that auditors are watching, or somebody is watching me. You are doing it because your conscience believes in that, because that's what you are. That's part of your DNA.
Can you sleep at night? You know,
exactly,
that's the main
thing. And a clear conscience is the best, because you talked about the sleep at night. So a clear conscience is the best pillow to sleep on.
Very true. Okay, I can't have you here and not ask you about investing trends. So that's what's going to be my next few questions
How
around.
How can Mubina not ask bazaar kya lagta hai?
Exactly. It's in my DNA. So, since we were talking about AI, I must ask you, what are those sectors that you think are immune to AI?
I think those who adopt AI, those who leverage the power of what AI can do, will be the winners. People will do what they have been doing for whatever, since from the time humanity has been around. People will be consuming, people will be moving around, people will be doing all sorts of things. But each and every business, if they can leverage the power of AI, I think they will have an advantage over the others who are not using it as much.
But do you think, now for example, there are certain fields like, let's say, education perhaps, you know,
will change dramatically. Everything will change dramatically. And think about like pre-internet and the post-internet. Could we have thought about like an e-commerce? Could we have thought about this quick commerce? Could we have thought about like many businesses developed, but leave all of that. But look at even the financial services.
Yeah.
Let's say like our group over the last couple of decades, what they've been able to do simply because of the technology. It took us 23 years to get to 65 lakh investors. In last 2 years, we've added 65 lakh investors. But for the technology, that wouldn't have been possible. Now AI is opening up many more possibilities for us to do personalization at scale, the word that I used earlier. So this would be like a big multiplier force going forward in terms of productivity, in terms of efficiency, in terms of giving a better client experience, so on and so forth.
So, since you are in the financial services industry and you spoke about personalization at, mass
Scale.
customization, as we
Yeah,
call it, or
yeah.
personalization at scale, tell me, how do you foresee the BFSI sector change in the next couple of
So I
years?
keep thinking that what will AI do to in terms, so let's say what industrial revolution did.
Yeah.
Like things that human beings were doing, pulling whatever, the chain or
Putting
whatever, and a
toothpaste
machine
caps
has
on
done
and
so
stuff,
well,
yeah.
or carrying a whatever horse carriage or
Yeah.
bullock cart or whatever
That's all
got
industry,
replaced by
yeah.
automobiles. What will AI do? Because it's
Yeah.
replacing brain. I think what it will do is that wherever there is a computing power and you're using brain to process something, a lot of this will get automated. Maybe dealing with very large data sets, I think it will get done very easily, interpreting that. You can inference a lot of things. It can give you a lot of visualization, so on and so forth. What it won't be able to do are actually very interesting, that human beings, anything that they do with mind, which involves emotion, anything that involves hands, that AI won't be able to do. Producing with machines at scale, maybe robots along with AI will do. But something who's creating something, let's say,
Like a work of art.
work of art actually become tremendously more valuable going forward. And something which is done by the mind, so let's say a physiotherapist, a counselor, a teacher, a storyteller, guy who can make you laugh, somebody who can make you cry, they'll become extremely more valuable going forward because AI won't be able to replace that. Number of jokes that you hear on AI bot will actually make you need for someone who can actually do in person. It's just like I remember in early 2000 or late 90s, people said that travel will come down because you can do video conferencing, you can watch videos on whatever online, etc. But that has led to concert economy doing even better. That has led to like travel and tourism has grown more. The more you see that online, the more you feel the need for seeing it in person. So
But that's also because of the whole thing of disposable incomes, etc., that have increased, and there's more money in people's hands. So that experiential part
all of this is enhancing efficiency or productivity, which will lead to like more income growth over a period of time.
Yeah. And I think people will want to spend more on,
experiences.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what it's something that we've any which ways been
Absolutely.
seeing. So if you have somebody who's doing the mundane work, you can free up your brain for more creative things or more.
And a lot of
creative
in my
pursuits.
annual letter, person of the year, last couple of years. So last year it was about deep tech. A year before last was health tech. Year before that was generative AI, and a year before that was space tech. And it's just a coincidence because last 4 years I couldn't think of like
Anything
any bigger trend. People are reading what's happening in politics, in geopolitics, and all of that. But I feel that with all of that news and the noise, underlying there is something much bigger at play. And post-COVID, I used to write that we are entering the best period in human history as far as science and spirituality is concerned. And you're going to see like a very different world in next several years, that the way these two forces together will give to humanity.
So how do you think people are talking about careers from here on? I mean, apart from comedian and
Not
physio.
comedian. The thing I'm saying
But-
that where you apply a human angle to it,
Yeah.
what machine, I mean, moving beyond what machine can do, kind of,
Yeah, but I'm just, that was, of course, jokes aside, like, how do you think people are viewing success in careers now, because since AI has come, the only thing that people ask me is, oh, okay, can AI do any aspect of my job? Is my job under threat from AI? That's been a lingering question. So how perhaps your kids or young people around you are thinking about their future career? Has the definition also of success changed?
I think it changed dramatically in the next several years. And the wave has begun since COVID, where the whole definition of work, the way think it like, showing up in an office and doing work in a certain way. Over the next several years, we are going to see a lot of changes, and particularly with what AI will do. Think about like your job, how it has changed, like the big career shift that you have made, and I think a lot of people will find newer and interesting opportunities. On one side, a lot of jobs, typically, as I said, anything which is dull, dumb, and dangerous won't be done by human beings, but they will do bigger and better things. And one of the things, like in the definition of success, also is going to undergo a massive change. Over the last several generations, we have thought of success in a typical hierarchical feudal society that you join as assistant manager and then you become manager and then over a period of time vice president and all of that. If you are a business guy, then you think how your revenues and how your profits have grown over a period of time. I think the generation now, I see the difference. They're looking for purpose, what they are doing to the planet, what they are doing for the next generation. On one side, people think that, no, this is a generation which is like, you only live once, zindagi na milegi dobara, selfie culture and all. But beneath that, if you go a little deeper, I think it's a lot more concerned. It's a lot more cooperative. It's a lot more, I would say, a cohesive society that we are going to see. I'm very optimistic on the current generation and their way of looking at work. They will look for authenticity. They will look for deep sense of purpose and the impact they are making over a period of time. Shouldn't generalize. I mean, there are millions of people and trying to come with one simple formula. This is how they are. Not really. Human beings are different, and there's a beauty about human beings. But I see that there is a big transition that's underway.
I'm so glad you brought this up, especially the part on cooperation, because on one side we see that perhaps more human beings want to come together and cooperate, but then there's also another
There's a lot of polarization. So,
isolationism.
I think several years back, in one of my Person of the Year, I had the hyper divided, hyper cooperative or something like that society. And then these two are going in parallel.
I mean, think about it. You have remote jobs, your groceries are delivered to you at home, your food is delivered to you at home, even a washing machine is delivered to you at home. There's literally no reason to step out, And then you contrast that with this need, a human need of sorts, to work in a cooperative society, because human beings at the end of the day are social animals, they do need to get out and interact.
So think about it, we talked about the culture, right? How do you set the culture in the organization? You cannot do that over Zoom calls. You cannot do that over Teams call, right?
True.
If everybody is working from home, then some of that value system, I think the culture and that cooperation happens over whiteboard. That happens over like whatever.
Town halls and
water cooler and town hall and people exchanging notes in cafeteria. That's where you come to know about, let's say, the family, the kids, some of the other interests, relationships that develop, and the newer ideas emerge. So I think the need for that is not going to come down. The flexibility is leading to a lot of advantages, but at the same time, maybe people will need. I think I told you about that whole concert economy thing, that people used to think that now, and bigger, better screens and you can listen to like any music, but the need for going to concert, the people have more aspiration to go to a live concert is only going to go up. And the more AI we use, and the full day you are ordering things, a time will come when shopping in a place will actually become like an interesting thing to do.
An interesting thing, very true. Okay.
Yeah. So in SDFCMC, some of the people I keep asking, we have opened more than 50 offices in last 18 months or so. Okay. And 97% of our transactions get done digitally. And people ask me, क्यों office चाहिए? सब कुछ तो digital हो रहा है, सब कुछ कर सकते हो. And our digital assets, like we are working very hard, team is working so hard. But I say that human to human contact, that kind of like will not lose the importance. It's irreplaceable. When you meet your partner, particularly on days when markets are down, that is a different.
Exactly. Misery loves company. Okay.
No, but even both, like to celebrate success and on tough days on both sides.
Of course, Okay, let's talk strategy, something that defines the core of the alpha angle. Let's rewind to if you are 25, you're hungry for growth, you're looking to make 40, 50%.
I'm hungry for growth at this age also.
And I was also not going to say that I'm not
Hungry,
going to talk about rewinding. What extent are we rewinding? We'll not get into that. But okay, yeah, I think hungry for returns is something that's agnostic to age. You're always hungry
Of
for
course.
returns. At 35, I'm still hungry for 40, 50% annual returns. But where would you place your
40,
bet?
50% annual.
Yes.
If you get 40, 50% annual, by the time, I don't know if you are my age or whatever,
Yeah.
you'll
What
be
wealth
owning
will I
whole of
be sitting
Mumbai
on?
probably. That doesn't happen. I think it's about the longevity. It's not about maximizing return in a year or in 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. It's about the longevity of that. That's more important.
Sustainability of
There's so many players in the world whose averages would be far better than the best players in the world.
Yeah.
But their averages was like in few matches. What you have to do is like hundreds of matches or thousands of matches.
Yeah.
That's the whole game in investing. It's not about maximizing for few years. It's about
That's why I mentioned
elongating.
25, because when you're 25, you think you will be able to double your money. You have
I'm
that
like 55 or
mindset
so. I have another 50 years to go.
because that's a very young person
So
thing to do, right?
sorry to interject. It's interesting. So Buffett started at the age of 11. I think he became millionaires in like his 30s.
Yeah.
He a billionaire in his 50s and 100 billion in the next 20, 30 years. So it goes like it takes several years, decades to go here, then here, and then
it's
here.
exponential.
That's the whole compounding game. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Like
where
Einstein rightly said that compounding is like the eighth wonder of the world.
wonder of the world, yeah.
Those who understand it make the most of it. Those who don't kind of pay a price for it.
So then you don't think that there's any one such avenue or asset class where you can make money without waiting for too long? Or patience is the name of the game. You have
Patient
to-
is the name. There is only one formula, wealth creation. I've repeated it several times. That's STP, sound investment plus time plus patience. You take any one of these three out and you won't create wealth in the long run. You can maximize, what is that famous quote? Don't confuse bull market with brains. The
True,
lesser
yeah,
experience you have, the lesser whatever research you apply, you'll make more money because you have not seen the cycles, you haven't really looked at the history, so you'll make more money that point in time. But the game is about compounding over a
I
long
think that's what
period of
happened,
time.
especially post 2020,
Yeah.
2021. I mean, these were a bunch of people who had only seen the upturn, and now it's sort of testing everybody's patience in many ways in the last one odd year. So SIP, of course, has revolutionized the game in a big way. What do you think is that next big thing that the industry is working on that could be that game changer, like SIP was?
No, still, this self is like a long way to go, right?
Still,
So while
even
we
from
can
here.
say that 4,000 crores in 2017 has become 28,000 crores. But still the entire industry is only 5.5 crore unique investors. So a long way to go. And even for the people who have done the SIP, large number of those people haven't done the amount that they should be investing. I repeat, so people have, a lot of people I meet, अरे SIP कर दिया मैंने चालू, but कितना amount किया, they haven't really calculated it properly. What exactly are their needs and what they need to save? I think that need is much higher. So even within the SIP, there's a lot more that we need to do.
There's still a
investing
lot more
right. And for
potential to work on.
three reasons they need to invest more. I tell people that life expectancy is increasing, life expenses are increasing, and life expectations are increasing. You're going to live longer, you're going to spend more, and then you have
Your
a life.
aspirations, yeah.
Aspirations are increasing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need to do more than what you have already done.
You mentioned and you quoted Warren Buffett a lot, rightly so. I mean, he has achieved a lot. Who do you think is the Warren Buffett of India?
Oh, that's interesting. So, I mean, we talked the word compounding few times.
Yes.
And we talked about the long term few times. Now, think about it. So, we always glorify some of these names. Maybe I quoted him out with some context. But over a 30-year period, if you look at something like an SDFC Flexi Cap fund, where somebody did an SIP of 10,000 rupees per month, would be sitting on something like 20 crores today. Because I quoted a number, I have to say mutual funds are subject to market risk. Please read the offer document carefully. Past returns are no indication or guarantee of future returns. Having said that, it just shows the power of compounding. And any investor who's done something so boring and who's done something I would say, so elementary that start early, invest regularly, remain disciplined, don't get swayed by the volatility, has got what Buffett would have earned over a 30-year period, right? In terms of percentage, the amount of starting money that you are putting in place. So I think several of those Indian investors, I salute them who have done that. But the point is, many investors who would have invested in at various points in time would somewhere have lost that discipline or would have lost that confidence or would have got wavered. They are not the ones who have created that. As a group, to be very honest, I mean, with all the humility, in last like 4 or 5 decades, the institution that we have built, the trust that we have built as a group, I think there's a lot to take pride that. Why to look outside India? I mean, even in India, you have seen institutions getting built over decades. There's a lot of pride that we can take in ourselves.
I mean, of course, you all in a way have also sort of, created wealth, not just as a group, but
for
also
all the
for
stakeholders, for the shareholders, for
Exactly,
those who are kind of unit holders for AMC, or let's say depositors for the parent, and I mean, everybody, the entire society and nation at large.
So anybody who's been patient and just followed a very boring investment strategy
Absolutely.
is a Warren Buffett.
Investing
according to
is seeing the paint getting drying, or like if you want, there's this famous quote that if you want to see excitement, go to Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not about excitement. It's about doing the boring thing over a long period of time.
Is that your own investment belief as well, your own personal belief?
It wasn't in when I would have started in 80s and 90s, but you learn over a period of time. You make a lot of mistakes, and then
I would love to know what was Mr. Navneet Munot's few mistakes.
I mean, nobody really knew. We didn't read all of this, and we would have started reading in 90s, and then thanks to this industry, got kind of like understood a little better. But we're still a student.
You're still students. I mean, that goes without saying. I think, Navneet, this conversation really brought about the mind and the soul of investing. And I think we went much beyond investing. We spoke a lot about your own personal beliefs, which I'm sure everybody would not get to hear that often. But thank you so much for sharing with us.
Thank you so much.
And that's a wrap on the very first episode of The Alpha Angle. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Live Mint. We'll be back with many more such conversations with the brightest minds in finance to unpack conversations on insights, strategies, and convictions that matter. A special thanks to Angel One for partnering with us on this series. Until next time, keep your edge sharp and your alpha in sight.